Hi, I'm Trisha at Club Scrap and welcome to the Beachcomber Page Kit workshop. We are going to be making a series of 8 really lovely 12 by 12 pages with this Beachcomber Page Kit. I've got my kit right here. I've got my instructions printed and downloaded, copy of that handy. And the first thing I'm going to do to get us started is isolate all the papers that came in the box. So I'm going to set aside the ribbon, all these beautiful embellishments, and I'm also going to grab my accordion pocket file. This is designed to keep us organized with the lip here. In the front, I'm going to put that underneath the base of my guillotine style trimmer. And now these pockets are going to help me stay organized today as we do all of the trimming for 8 layouts at once. I've got information in the description of this video about how you can get one of these accordion pocket files for yourself. And it involves making it with my workshop video. It's fun. I promise. All right, let's take these photo mats that came in the kit. These were pre-trimmed for you to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 so that you don't have to use large sheets of paper to mat your photos, because who doesn't love a nicely matted photo? Now let's take 2 of the white photo mats from this set and place them in pocket 1 and 2. And if you don't have the accordion pocket file, it's okay. Just maintain 4 separate piles. Maybe use a Post-it note to label them 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. Okay, then let's take 3 lime, 1, 2, 3, 3 lime photo mats. Those are gonna go in pocket 3 and 4. 3 aqua photo mats. Now of the 2, the aqua is the darker. So 3 of those going into pocket 5 and 6. 1 seafoam photo mat, 5 and 6. That's that lighter blue color. And then you should have 2 seafoam and 1 white left. Put that in pocket 7 and 8. Next up, let's take all of the 12 by 12 papers and sort them in the order we'll be trimming them. So we'll start out with this wave print. Just take one of those from the stack and put it face down on the base of your trimmer. Then take one of the dune prints, put that face down. Then the lime. Now this has a texture, and if you want, you can just put the texture side facing down so that when we work with it later on, after we flip the pile over, the texture side is right side up, just so that you remember to do it that way. It doesn't even matter until you're adhering things, but I just wanted to mention that. The seafoam also has texture, so take 1 sheet of that. Remember, that's the lighter shade of the blue. And then reach from the back of your stack of items. You're gonna find a sheet of individual Cutaparts. Look for this fun little starfish border here. Put it face down, followed by the dark green strips on that sheet of Cutaparts. Then find 1 remaining sheet of that lime green. The remaining dune print, place that face down. The remaining wave print, face down. The last seafoam. 2 of that sunny yellow, and then 2 of the aqua. So put the aqua, again, face down, texture down. Flip everything back over to the wave print where we got started. Now, I know from experience in teaching workshops that if I ask you to tear paper, it tends to create some fear. I don't want you to worry about this. Just enjoy the process, okay? So I'm gonna take this wave print, I'm gonna turn it on its side, and I'm kind of looking at this wave going through here. It's an art, not a science here, my friends, okay? I'm just gonna tear kind of along this line here. And I do have it pictured a tear line. Again, there's no real science to it. I don't want you to worry. And as I'm tearing, do you see how I'm exposing the white layers of that paper? Look at that. Now, do you see how the white fibers are showing here, but not on here? So we're gonna create some of that by flipping the paper over. I'm right-handed, and just taking away that edge again. So I have a white exposed edge on this side as well. Nice, that's exactly what I'm looking for. These are going to be used in pages 1 and 2, but they're really big. So instead of having you file these 2 pieces, I'm going to have you put them at the bottom of your stack on the left. Okay, we'll find them when we need to. Here we go. Now with the dune print, we are actually going to get to trimming here. So I'll unlock my blade. I'm going to find 8 inches Remember, this is 8 centimeters, this is 8 inches. Make sure the paper is flush at the top here, push down on this bar, and then we'll find 4.5 inches. So 4, using the columns on the trimmer, I'm gonna go left 2 columns to find 4.5. So 4.5, stabilize. The piece in the base of your trimmer, place it in pocket 3 and 4 at an angle so you can still see those numbers on the pocket. Then the middle section from the print goes in 7 and 8, and the remaining section of the print goes in 3 and 4. Now, if I am going too fast, remember that you can go back and adjust your playback speed on your YouTube channel to 0.75. That'll really slow me down. All right, moving on to the lime. Let's place this in the trimmer and cut at 10 3/4. So I find 10 plus 1, 2, 3 columns to the left, gives me 10 3/4. As I slice these pieces, don't move them. Let them pile up to the right of your trimmer. Then find 9, same sheet of paper, then 7 1/4, and 4. Rotate that 4-inch piece, trim at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, and 3 3/4. You made 3 pieces the same size that are all gonna go in pocket 7 and 8. And there is a small piece that fell from the end. That, I regret to inform you, is actually a scrap. Sorry, not sorry, it's not that big. Then let's pick up the next strip that fell. This is 3 1/4 by 12. We'll start at 9 3/4, then 7 1/2, 5 1/4, and 3. We made a whole series of pieces here. This piece that you ended with, plus 1 more that just fell, 3 and 4. You can pick up the remaining pieces. I think they're all the same size. Put one of them in 7 and 8, one in 5 and 6, the other in 1 and 2. The 3 strips that fell that remain, the top 2, and they are the widest, pocket 3 and 4, the skinniest, 7 and 8. Moving on to this seafoam color. We're gonna trim at 11 3/4. That's a big number. It's okay. Then 11 1/2, 8 1/4, and 4 1/4. Rotate that 4 1/4 inch piece. We're gonna cut at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. Place this piece in pocket 1 and 2. The next one that fell, 5 and 6, and the next one, 7 and 8. There is a small strip, once again, that is a scrap. It can join its friend. The next widest piece that fell, trim it in half at 6. And both of these pieces go in pocket 1 and 2. And then we have this 3 1/4 by 12. It should be next on the stack. We'll cut at 9, 6, and 3. You made 4 pieces the same size. So 2 of them are gonna go in pocket 1 and 2, and the other 2 go in pocket 3 and 4. And you're left with these 2 really narrow strips. They both need to go in pocket 3 and 4. Here we are at the Cutaparts. Now the perimeter of this Cutapart sheet needs to be removed according to those little guide marks. So for the first cut here, I'm going to cut as close to that guide as possible without going past it. Then I'll rotate, and with that first cut being made, now I can see the edge of my blade at the bottom and top of the trimmer base. Kind of tweak that a little bit until I have it lined up nicely. Rotate again. Check the top and bottom. And again for this third edge. And one more rotation. This time I'm going to make the final cleanup cut to get the rest of the edge off for my first trim. And then I end up with these little guys. I'm just gonna put those in the garbage. And to start trimming, make sure that the cut apart itself is in the trimmer to match what's in the picture in the instructions. So this strip should be on the right. And then our measurement's gonna be 10.5, 9, 7 3/4, 6.5, and 3.5. Rotate this strip and cut at 8 and 4. Now you can see that there is an angle on these upper corners, and that's what's going to turn this into a tag. So I like to use my trimmer to make that happen, just kind of right at this moment. So then this shells in a bottle, pocket 1 and 2. This sentiment here, once again, I'll clip its corners. Every time you trim the corners, a cut apart gets its wings. 5 and 6 on this one. Then we have the shell here, sand dollar. I love those. They're so beautiful, aren't they? Pocket 7 and 8. Then you have this large strip here, pocket 1 and 2 at that angle again. The next 2 strips at your prescription is ready at the pharmacy. I love that, 5 and 6. And these last 2 strips with the starfish, pocket 3 and 4. Now I'm gonna grab this other sheet, a final piece that needs to be trimmed, and I'll shave off just a little bit off that one side. So now the paper is small enough for me to see my blade again. I wish they made this trimmer just a little bit longer, but you can't have everything, right? Life can't be too perfect. Every single edge, and then this final turn puts me back just a sliver. Look at this. Look at that little hair that it took off. That's capable of doing that, I think, is quite amazing. All right, making sure those dark green strips are on the right. Let's get rolling here at 11 inches, then 10, 8.5, 6.5, and 4. Now rotate this piece and go ahead and cut at 6. If we want, we can grab our corners, turn it into a tag. I love that. I love that a simple clip like this takes a regular rectangular sheet of paper and turns it into a tag. And this cute little seal that's going to go in pocket 3 and 4. Here we have all these different elements. Take that little crabby guy. I'm just taking scissors here that I have on hand for dedicated to just paper. And then we have the larger shell here too. We're going to get rid of that guy. Why don't we just separate them all? The 2 smaller shells, those go on 7 and 8. The larger shell, 3 and 4. And Mr. Krabby, also 3 and 4. Take our next strip here. We'll trim it at 8 and 4. The crab, he goes on 7 and 8. The journaling prompt that says the beach, 5 and 6. And then this last with the starfish, also 5 and 6. Nice easy cuts here at 9 on this next strip, 6 and 3. A little birdie here, 1 and 2. I think you see sandpiper or something. Clipping the corners on the journaling prompt with the long twirly shell. That's my technical name for this guy, 3 and 4. And then we have this other tubular style shell. I really don't know my shell names. I'm sure there are people watching who know their shell names. This one goes in 7 and 8. And then this is not a journaling prompt. It's just a big, I think it's a conch style shell. And this will be pocket 5 and 6. We've got this gorgeous border strip here heading for 1 and 2. And then you have 2 dark green strips for pocket 7 and 8. Got a bunch of little triangles from our tags. You know what to do. Throw them away. That was your last trim. Isn't that cool? So support your accordion pocket file while you lock your blade. Pull the trimmer away. You can lay this on its back from now on. The trimmer is what holds it upright. Now you have all of these remaining papers plus the other little pieces we had set aside on the bottom. So I'm going to take that whole entire stack and slide the top sheet off to the right here so that I've got on my right one lime green, and then on my left I have this beautiful dune print. We are going to work from the bottom up, so starting with layouts 7 and 8 first, so that when we're finished temporarily placing these elements onto the pages without adhering them, you'll be ending at page 1 and everything will be accounted for. Then you can work your way back down at your own pace to adhere all of those elements and then grab your pictures, get those pages done. That means we need to empty pocket 7 and 8. So I'm going to grab everything out of there. And I do like to distribute the stuff out of my hand rather than off the tabletop. So if you're able, hold the elements in your hand so that it's just easy to sort through it all. This lovely strip of the print will be placed on the right edge of the right page. And then if you look for the 3 green rectangles, and I don't think they're square. They need to be placed vertically across the top of the dune print here. Then another green strip followed by the green title that says, "Always leave a little piece of your heart at the beach." And then you can find the other portion of that title so you can go back and find it again. That's going to be down over here. Our 2 larger photo mats will be tilted slightly and overlapped slightly so that we avoid tangents here. So don't let that corner of the photo mat touch the edge of the paper. Same here. Don't let the corners of the mats touch like this. Unattractive. This is more attractive. Just overlap it a little slightly. That's going to look so nice. The white photo mat will be here. I also incorporated the cute little glassine envelope, and I nested this larger tag onto the seafoam paper and clipped the corners as well. And I turned it into a tag, which I'll show you in a moment. Then I have the smaller journaling prompt, also has a lime green mat for it. It's going to fit right here. And you've got your little crabby guy hanging out along with some smaller shells, which those will be fussy cut and applied. What I like to do is show you the finished page and review all those special little things, and be mindful too that if you don't need my help trimming and getting this far, but you have questions about the layout itself, I always put the chapters in the YouTube videos so that you can just fast forward right to your question. So if you have a question about layout 3 and 4, you don't have to watch any of this stuff. You can go right to the laying out of 3 and 4, and then at the end of positioning the pieces, I'll showcase the finished layouts. So here is finished layout number 8. I used my good old slot punch to create a rectangular strip opening in the top of this tag, threaded some of the organza ribbon through that slot. Then I tied a little piece of it, just one knot into a piece, and attached it right at the top there. Looks very nice. Here I used a crocodile hole punch, any kind of thing like that, to create a hole where I could thread ribbon. It goes from here, right from here, where it's secured with adhesive, around to the back of the strip. Same on this side. Really love that effect, and I don't have the ribbon going behind the whole title. It uses more ribbon than needed. This shell here was popped up with our foam adhesive circles, gives it a little bit of dimension. Other than that, it's very straightforward. You do have more room for another picture down here, even though there's not a mat in that spot. Now on the facing page, you can see the glassine envelope was vertical straight. This was tilted, kind of make it look like it came out of that cute little glassine bag. I did the same trick here with the slot and the loop, but I also just made a standard bow out of the ribbon here and did the same exact ribbon trick with the seafoam ribbon coming out of the sides of the title. I love that little special touch. It just really adds a lot, I think. Now I'm going to take the base of page 7 and slide it over to the right. and then slide the next sheet over. I believe I forgot to mention earlier that I was turning to page 4 of the instructions to see page 7 and 8. That's my answer key. It's the equivalent to the lid of the puzzle box, right? So now we are on 5 and 6, and I'm going to empty pocket 5 and 6, and I can consult the picture on page 4, top of the instructions. Let's start out with your prescription is ready. And then I have 2 vertical mats here. And the seafoam mat is going to be vertical here. That's going to help tell us where this other strip goes. Oh, this is so easy. And then another horizontal mat here. The journaling prompt. And this fun little quote, the ocean is filled with untamed magic. There's the sound of the ocean is like a love song you can't stop playing. That's going to be nested with our glassine tag and topped with some ribbon. I do also have a strip of this silk ribbon. So if you're wondering, where in the heck did that aqua paper come from? Well, it's not paper, it's ribbon. I'll trim that with my fabric scissors here, and that's just going to be wrapped around it and added to the back, okay? We have our journaling prompt that will nest onto the lime green. In your kit, you have a 5-pack of these really sweet little starfish. I did 2 on the left, 3 on the right, because we have all that starfish look going on there. Allow me to show you the fun ribbon twist trick. So that took place over on this piece. So I have this gorgeous ribbon. I'm going to twist it just to gather the length required for the project. All you do, I always keep my tape in a sand-filled dispenser. Make sure the ribbon is going to be cooperating with the grain. Do you see how it dips down? So all I'm going to do is take one piece of tape and adhere this end. Then I'm going to give it a nice twist and adhere the other end. So first adhere, then twist, then adhere. Then I'm going to come in with my stapler and I'm just going to give it a crisscross. So the staple itself becomes part of the embellishment. How cool is that? And that is going to be a lovely way to finish off this side of the layout. So here we go. There's my little twist and staple technique. That's what I'm going to call it, the twist and staple. Here, slot punch and loop. Slot punch, loop to the back. Beautiful addition of the ribbon there in the background. Otherwise, very straightforward again. Let's take this seafoam paper, slide it to the right, then the yellow slide, and we need to also reverse our way through the directions. So I'm going to go to page 3, looking at the bottom to see pages 3 and 4. And yes, I know this is really a bright sheet of paper, isn't it? Woo! But we're going to tone that down with the help of these gorgeous dune prints that we have set aside for this layout. The one that's a little wider with the yellow at the bottom here will go on the left. The slightly narrower piece goes on the right. And then you have those 2 really thin paper ribbons. And I want to show you my favorite trick with the paper ribbons. And to do that, I will first take my adhesive and add this larger piece on the left edge. Lining it up. Drop it down into place. Now, this is such a narrow piece, I like to grab my Bookbinding Glue in my needle tip applicator and run the tip of the applicator along the edge of the paper that's already attached to the layout. I keep this nose down in my sand-filled tape dispenser, pick up the paper ribbon, align up the bottom edge, and you're just gonna let it rest right up against the strip. Done. Quick, right? Super easy. I just wanted to quick show you that because it's just a nice little time-saving trick and it always looks great. Now we have a green strip here, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 from the top edge with one of these gorgeous border strips. We're going to mirror that down to the bottom over here on the right. We'll add our green, our lime mats here. So we have a horizontal on the left and then 2 vertical, on the right rather, and then 2 vertical on the left. This large tag here, 2 of the seafoam vertical above, and that should just, do you see how it creates this nice little block? Then you have this narrow strip along with a journaling prompt here, and then the other green on the right. Crabby is going to go right near the seal, and then this large conch shell on the right. And I've added one of the buttons here and here with some waxed cord. So I basically pierce through the paper layers with, you can use a push pin and a cork board, a paper piercing tool, something like that. And then I put my wax cord on a needle and just sewed it on like kind of like a button, just normal, because it is a button. So here we go. You can see I made a little bow too from the button ends, and I also looped some ribbon through it. I think I even created the slot first, added the ribbon, and then finished with the button. This was attached with foam adhesive. And then on the facing page, I repeated exactly the same function. Made a loop, threaded the ribbon, brought it around to the back, sewed on the button, and attached that with foam adhesive. Are you sensing a pattern here? It's exactly the same. Let's slide this on over. We're already approaching pages 1 and 2. So whether you follow it along at full pace or at 1.5 times the pace or a little slower, this did not take long. So I'm going to take the top portion of the print and place it up on the left and the bottom portion of the print down on the right. And I just love how it creates this beautiful landscape here. Then emptying everything from pocket 1 and 2. Real easy placements here. We've got this giant border strip going on the left, and I did nest this tag here with the sea foam. There should be a rectangle that fits this guy perfectly. I'm going to use one of my photo mats up here. I did not want to cover the print. I know, I didn't want to do it either, but we're here to scrapbook. I'm going to add this lovely little border strip right here to anchor my 2 vertical seafoam mats, and you can slide them under the print if you like. I think that looks really sweet. Here, nesting him over on the right, 2 seafoam mats over here, and the 4 buttons, one is going to be added here, and then we're just going to line these up along the edge to just draw the eye to that spot. It turned out really cool. Let's take a look. So the facing page number 2, here I just had 2 pieces of ribbon. One was wrapped around and the other tied on to the wrapped ribbon. This was added with the needle and thread. You can see it going all the way to the back through the pierced holes, and I just tied the ends in a knot. I did the same knot here. I got tired of making the miniature bows, so I just did a little knot. There's my stitching on the back. Made my slot, threaded with the seafoam ribbon, tied a knot into a piece. So this is 2 pieces of ribbon, piece number 1, piece number 2. Gosh, that was so easy, right? You know, that's sometimes just the nice joy of it. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it can still be beautiful. I have a lot of pictures that will look fabulous on these layouts. Where have you been recently, or in the way past, or where are you planning to go in the future that these pages will work with? I'm excited to see them. Remember, we have a private Club Scrap Facebook chat group that you can go ahead and share your finished layouts with all of us. We love to encourage one another in our creative journeys, and we're all working with stuff from Club Scrap, which makes it super cool. We all have the same things, and we love to see how everyone uses it. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit subscribe on this YouTube channel so you don't miss any future workshops and releases, and give this video a like. It really helps grow our small channel. Well, from our Neenah, Wisconsin-based warehouse, I'm Trisha Morris from Club Scrap, wishing you a very creative day. Thank you so much for joining me for this workshop, and I look forward to seeing you in another class soon.